Every product has a story. Every dollar leaves a trail. Today, we're following the money behind something most people never think about. Garbage. Not gold. Not oil. Just ordinary garbage. Every single day, millions of tons of waste disappear from our streets. But the money never disappears with it. The moment you throw something away, someone else sees an opportunity to make money. But who actually profits? The collection company, the recycling plant, the factory, or someone you've never even heard of? To find the answer, we'll follow the journey of a single plastic bottle from your trash bin to its final destination. Because once it leaves your hands, its story is only just beginning. It all begins here, inside your recycling bin. What looks like trash is actually the first step in a much bigger business. Before anything can be recycled, it has to be collected. And collecting waste is a business worth billions of dollars every year. Every neighborhood, every office, and every factory depends on companies that move waste from one place to another. Those trucks don't just carry garbage. Every load they collect is part of a much larger economic system. But simply collecting waste isn't where the biggest profits are made. The real value comes later. The next stop is a sorting facility, where thousands of items are separated every single hour. Plastic, paper, glass, and metal all follow different paths. Their value depends on what they are and how clean they are. At this point, our bottle is no longer just garbage. It's becoming a raw material that someone is willing to pay for. Not every plastic bottle is worth the same. Some can be recycled many times, while others are much harder to process. Color, material, and even a simple label can affect how valuable that bottle becomes. That's why sorting is one of the most important steps in the entire recycling process. Once everything is separated, the materials are compressed into massive bales and shipped to recycling plants. This is where garbage begins to look less like waste and more like inventory waiting to be sold. Recycling companies don't buy garbage. They buy materials that still have value. The cleaner the material, the higher the price someone is willing to pay for it. A single bottle isn't worth much. But millions of bottles collected together become a business worth millions. Once the bottles arrive at the recycling plant, they go through another transformation. They're washed, sorted again, and broken into tiny plastic flakes. At this point, they're no longer treated as garbage, but as a valuable industrial material. Those flakes are melted down and turned into small plastic pellets. They may not look impressive, but these tiny pellets are exactly what manufacturers are willing to pay for. In other words, the bottle has already changed its identity. What started as household waste is now a product with a market price, ready to be sold to another company. This is the moment when money starts moving faster. Recycling plants sell the material, manufacturers buy it, and every transaction adds another layer of value to the same piece of plastic. But here's something most people never realize. The real business isn't about a single bottle. It's about controlling the flow of millions of bottles every single day. Companies that can collect more, sort faster, and process materials more efficiently usually have a much bigger advantage than companies that simply handle more waste. That's why technology has become one of the most valuable assets in the recycling industry. Faster machines, smarter sorting systems, and lower operating costs can completely change a company's profits. And yet, even recycling plants aren't always the biggest winners. There's another group of companies quietly making even more money from the same material. The biggest profits usually don't come from collecting garbage. They come from turning recycled materials into products people are willing to buy. A recycled plastic bottle can become another bottle, a t-shirt, a car part, or even furniture. The material keeps creating value. Every time that material changes hands, another company has a chance to earn money from it. That's why waste isn't just moving through factories. It's moving through an entire chain of businesses. But here's the surprising part. Many recycling companies don't earn huge profits. Their costs are often much higher than people imagine. They pay for workers, fuel, electricity, equipment, and transportation before they earn a single dollar. That's why efficiency matters more than size. The companies that waste less usually earn more. So if recycling plants aren't making the biggest profits, who is? The answer might surprise you. But here's the real question. Who is actually buying all of this recycled plastic once it leaves the recycling plant? The answer is simple. Manufacturers. Thousands of them rely on recycled materials every single day to make new products. For many factories, recycled plastic isn't a backup option. It's an important part of keeping production costs under control. After processing, the plastic becomes tiny pellets. Those pellets are shipped to factories and turned into brand new products. To the average customer, those products look exactly the same. Most people never realize they were made from recycled plastic. Every new bottle, every plastic container, and even some clothes can begin with materials that were once thrown away. That's why garbage doesn't disappear. It simply changes form, changes owners, and keeps moving through the economy. And this is where the real value is created. Not by throwing things away, but by turning waste into something people are willing to buy. So, who really makes money from garbage? The answer isn't just one company. It's an entire chain of businesses, each earning money at a different stage. Collection companies earn by moving waste. Recycling plants earn by processing materials. Manufacturers earn by turning those materials into products people buy. But the highest profits usually belong to the businesses that create the most value, not the ones that simply move the waste. One plastic bottle can be bought, processed, sold, and transformed several times before it reaches its final customer. Every step adds value. And every step creates another opportunity for someone to earn money. What most people see as trash is actually a resource. And resources almost always become someone's business. That's why millions of dollars continue to flow through an industry most people never even notice. By now, our plastic bottle has passed through several different companies. Each one earned a small piece of the money simply by adding value to the next step. Millions of these transactions happen every day. Most people never notice them, but together they keep a global industry running around the clock. The biggest fortunes aren't built on one bottle. They're built on processing millions of them every single day with maximum efficiency. Every bottle you throw away becomes part of that system. Whether you think about it or not, you're already part of this business. To you, it's just an empty bottle. To someone else, it's inventory, raw material, and future profit. That's why the story never really ends. The same material keeps moving, changing, and creating value again and again. The bottle is back on the shelf, ready to be bought again. And when that happens, the entire cycle starts over. What looks like an ordinary purchase is actually the beginning of another journey through a hidden economy. So, who really makes money from garbage? The answer is simple. Every company that adds value earns a share. But the biggest rewards go to those who transform waste into something the world wants to buy. And it all starts with one simple decision: throwing something away. To you, it's just an empty bottle. To someone else, it's the beginning of another business opportunity. Every day, millions of bottles move through warehouses, factories, and recycling plants, quietly powering an industry worth billions of dollars. The next time you hold a plastic bottle, remember, its value doesn't end when you throw it away. For someone else, that's exactly where the money begins. If you enjoyed following the hidden journey of money, subscribe to Where Go This Money? Because in the next episode, we'll uncover who really makes money from coffee.